Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. We have some breaking news. Former UFC light heavyweight champion Jamal Hill has been arrested for domestic violence. This is being reported by TMZ. I will link the article down below if you want to go check it out. And I know people who are watching this video are going to expect me to take some sort of victory lap. And while I'm going to discuss what I think if Jamal Hill did in fact do what he's alleged to have done, which, by the way, I want to be very clear because I've already saw a horrendous response by the MMA community in the 30 minutes since this news dropped. But it is alleged that Jamal Hill assaulted his brother. If you read the TMZ article, it says, that same day, prosecutors formally charged the 32-year-old with one count of misdemeanor aggravated domestic violence. In court documents we obtained, officials allege Hill assaulted James Anthony Hill Jr., inflicting serious or aggravated injury upon him. That is directly from the article, but I know a lot of people hear the words domestic violence and they immediately think that means a man beating a woman. That's not necessarily what it means. It typically means that. Usually, most cases, it means that. But it can mean a woman beating a man. It can also mean family members attacking each other or household members attacking each other. And what has really disgusted me already is I've seen a lot of the MMA community's reaction saying, this headline's ridiculous. So the headline's ridiculous because you don't know the definition of words. The first thing I did when I saw this headline, I clicked the article and said, let me find out who he assaulted or allegedly assaulted. And I seen, okay, he allegedly assaulted his brother. But what's crazy to me already, and I don't know the full scope of the MMA community's reaction just yet because it's happened so, the news just came out, a half hour ago. But the fact that more people are upset about the wording of the headline than the fact that he potentially assaulted his brother and inflicted serious or aggravated injury upon him. That is disgusting behavior if it's true. But I want to be very clear. We don't know all the details of this. I know people want me to take a victory lap because, I made recent videos discussing Jamal Hill. I'll link those down in the description. And his behavior and him lobbying thinly veiled threats and him getting angry and being petty over the dumbest stuff. And I say, look, I don't support this. I don't support this type of behavior. This is a guy, who's a trained killer lobbying thinly veiled threats at MMA media members because he doesn't like the way they ask questions. But right now, we really don't know what went on. There could be a litany of mitigating factors that maybe he was attacked and he's defending himself. You never know. When cops could get called and showed up and the next thing you're the last person throwing a shot and you get arrested for assault, or you win a fight potentially and you're arrested for assault because that's all they witnessed. We don't know. We don't have all the facts yet surrounding this case with Jamal Hill, but it doesn't look good at all. It doesn't look good at all. But the fact that people are more upset with the wording of the headline than the fact that Jamal Hill beat his brother, or hypothetically, allegedly beat his brother, because again, we don't know for sure yet. He's not been charged officially. He's not been convicted. And I want to be very clear. If Jamal Hill's clear to this, we should never talk about it again. If his brother even drops the charges, depending on what more information we get before then we can't hold him accountable for this really. Unless we get concrete evidence of what actually happened, we can't sit here and just, say, oh, this ruins Jamal Hill's entire credibility and it ruins his entire character. And, I was right about him all along. I don't want to sit here and say that until we have all the facts. But what I support is, and I've been consistent on all, things like this, whether it be a DUI or somebody recklessly driving at 100 miles an hour. I want to see an investigation. I want to see the facts of that investigation. And if there's any criminality, I want them prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. So if Jamal Hill did in fact assault his brother and inflict serious or aggravated injury upon him, I want him charged. I want him prosecuted. I want him sentenced to whatever the guidelines are for the sentencing for that type of crime, wherever he committed that crime. That's what I want to see. But to be honest, my reaction to this is it doesn't surprise me. It does not surprise me if this does come out to be true. And we'll have to hear what all went on in this situation. But to be honest, the most likely scenario is Jamal Hill cannot control his emotions. So it would not surprise me if something happened between him and his brother. Maybe he walked in, his brother's watching Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour, and he just lost his cool. Maybe his brother said something to him that he didn't really appreciate. He lost his cool and he beats him up because he's a trained killer. Let me put this very clearly. Putting your hands on another human being over words, and again, I want to state we don't have all the facts yet, but putting your hands on another person regarding words is literally disgusting. It's despicable. But there's a whole nother layer of despicable when you're a trained killer. When you're a trained killer and you're training every day. Well, he's not. He's at the Apex riding around on a scooter and making YouTube videos talking about Ariel Helwani. But, you know, before he got injured, he was training every single day. I'm assuming he's getting back into training probably around this time. But he's a trained killer. He's a former light heavyweight champion, never lost his belt. If he's assaulting his untrained brother, it's disgusting behavior. It's appalling. And this could lose him the next title shot. Imagine he gets convicted of a crime. Now, it does say it's a misdemeanor aggravated domestic violence, so I don't know what the maximum sentence would be for this crime if he was convicted of this crime once there's a trial or whatever, if there's a plea deal, whatever it may happen. But he may lose his shot. Alex Pereira says he wants to stay active. He even just recently called out Magomed Ankalaev. This is not a good look for him. Regardless, and I know people are going to say, oh, it's just his brother. Who cares? It's only just his brother. I already hate that argument. I absolutely hate that argument. I know a lot of people are going to say that. Like it's fine because he assaulted his brother. My question is, for those who believe that it's totally fine that he assaulted his brother, if he in fact did it, if that's proven in a court of law that he assaulted his brother, where do you draw the line with what's okay to do to family members? Is it okay if he robs his brother? Is it okay if he rapes his brother? Is it okay if he murders his brother? No, none of those things are okay. They're all crimes. So if you have a trained fighter in Jamal Hill attacking his brother, he needs to be punished for that. And I will be consistent across the board for everyone. But what I have to say is, when I've covered this recent Jamal Hill saga and the way he's acted towards media members and the way he's throwing out thinly veiled threats, and then he has the producer of his podcast asking me, where do you live? What's your address? We're going to come there, blah, blah, blah. I'm a little bit exaggeratory there. I will link the videos down below. But kind of having his producer even threaten me. And then he's lobbying thinly veiled threats at Ariel Helwani left and right. You know, when somebody tells you who they are, believe them. And that's what Jamal Hill has done over the past couple months. You know, what would he tell his brother? Hey, you better shut your mouth because the only reason you're allowed to be safe is because I allow you to be safe. Where I come from, that constitutes an ass whooping. Is that what he's telling his brother too because he doesn't like what his brother's doing? I don't know. We have to find out more. But if he's convicted of a crime, the UFC might move on quick. They might move. They don't care about Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill is not some massive pay-per-view success at all. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev will do just as good as Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill's not, I mean, a lot of fans already forgot about Jamal Hill, to be quite honest. Now, I want to see Jamal Hill fight for the title, but if he is in fact convicted of this crime, even if it's not a crazy sentence, let's say he gets, you know, he's got to serve a couple weeks in prison or a month in prison. Even so, I think he should be punished by the UFC. I think the UFC, I'm tired of the UFC copping out and saying, you know, oh, we'll let the justice system play out. We don't have nothing to do with that. Well, let the justice system play out and then also impose your own punishments on him. Make Jamal Hill fight a contender now. If he did, which he's alleged to have did, which is assault his brother and inflict, you know, serious harm to him, then he shouldn't be walking back into a title shot. He should be sentenced to some jail time. He should probably be fined too, depending on how serious it is. You know, let's say he really gave his brother a serious injury, then he needs to go to jail for a while. And then when he comes back, he needs to fight his way back up. Forget about it. He didn't even deserve a title shot to begin with against Glover Teixeira. He got gifted that because there was nothing else going on in the light heavyweight division because of everyone being injured. And then recently have Ankalaev versus Blachowicz fight to a draw. So if Jamal Hill really is, you know, convicted of this and charged with this, then he needs to be, you know, sentenced. And then when he comes back to the UFC, he needs to fight his way back to the top. He doesn't deserve a title shot. I don't care that he held the belt before. You're a disgusting human being if you're going around assaulting other people just because you think you can, because you can get away with it, because you can't control your anger. And that is the vibes that I've always gotten from Jamal Hill. He can't control his anger. The only reason, if we're in the same room, if you're allowed to be safe because I allow you to be safe. I mean, how many times has this guy reminded us he's from Detroit? And he's supposed to be this inspirational story. I'm from this, horrible place and there's a lot of crime, and I got out of that and I became a UFC champion. And look at him. Look at him now. Look at this mugshot he's got now because he decided to do something stupid. And again, we have to hear the entire facts. But if what's being alleged is true, it's disgusting behavior. And I'm just really sick because I already know the MMA community is going to brush it off and say, oh, it's just his brother. It doesn't matter. It's not a woman. It's not his baby mama. It's not his wife. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. You're not allowed to put your hands on another person just because you want to. Now, if he's defending himself, I will come out and make a video in full support of Jamal Hill. If there's some type of extenuating circumstances, I will come out and make a full video in support of Jamal Hill. I think people were giving him too much criticism recently for being confident that he would beat Alex Pereira. But now, he may have very well screwed himself. Jamal Hill may never fight for a title again. And I know that sounds a bit extreme, but he may never fight for a title again. He's not some massive star. The UFC will move on without him. But I just can't believe, every time I see a story like this involving an athlete, and I know UFC fighters aren't paid like NFL players, but I'm like, you have this career, you have this earning potential, you're already making decent money, and you're throwing it away so you can commit petty crimes, or in some cases, heinous crimes like Aaron Hernandez. It makes absolutely no sense, and it just shows their intelligence level. You're like, I make all this money, I'm UFC champion, I'm about to fight Alex Pereira in the biggest fight of my career. You know what? Let me beat the dog shit out of my brother real quick because he's watching the MMA Hour. Or he said, you know what, I'm siding with Ariel Helwani. Or maybe he caught him watching the MMA Joey video. Maybe he caught him doing that. I just think, some of these athletes just make poor decisions. And I want to see if this is true. If this is in fact true, I want to see the MMA community pile on Jamal Hill like the way they piled on someone like John Jones, like they piled on Israel Adesanya. And I want to be very clear. Any of these things, domestic violence, whether it's against a man or a woman, whether it's a DUI, whether it's driving 130 miles an hour and being reckless on the roads, I think it's all disgusting. I think it all deserves to be punished. But Jamal Hill told us this is who he is. This is who he is. If he doesn't like something somebody says and he thinks it constitutes an ass whooping, guess what? He's going to use his training and put his hands on that individual. That is what Jamal Hill has told us repeatedly, time and time again. And I don't know if anyone's noticed this about Jamal Hill. I mean, it's pretty blatantly obvious, but he is so petty. He seems to get genuinely angry about everything. He genuinely, literally, Ariel Helwani asked him, do you think Alex Pereira is a tougher fight than Jamal Hill? Jamal Hill made like a 20-minute video bitching and complaining about it. Like, seriously, you're that upset about it? So who knows what went on with his brother? I'm very curious to find out the rest of this story, but I'm already disgusted at people leaping to his defense. How could they label this domestic violence? Well, just because you don't understand the definition of words, that doesn't mean it's a bad headline, because that's a true headline. Now, you can add context on it. Jamal Hill arrested for domestic violence, allegedly assaulting his brother. Okay, that adds more context to it. But at the end of the day, this is one of those things where if it's facts, it's facts. And if Jamal Hill does come through this, and let's say he ends up fighting for the title next, and let's say, he somehow gets off with a plea bargain, he's not in jail for long periods of time, or whatever may happen to him, whatever punishment may be minimum, or his brother drops the charges, I guarantee he's going to complain and complain. How could they headline it with domestic violence? Well, that's what it was. That's what it was. And Jamal Hill, for months on end, has told us who he is. And now he's proven who he is. He's ready to assault people. He's ready to put his hands on people. He's ready to threaten people if he doesn't like the words that come out of their mouths. So imagine if you're doing something else. I don't know what his brother could have done. Maybe his brother did him dirty. Maybe his brother stole $20 off his nightstand. Maybe he lived with him. I don't know. But at the end of the day, what could he have done to justify a serious or aggravated injury? There's nothing. There's nothing. There is no defense. It doesn't matter that it wasn't a woman. It does not matter. If it was his brother, it's just as disgusting. It's literally just as disgusting if he attacked his brother and he was not defending himself. But again, we have to wait and see the entire facts of the situation. I have a feeling it's probably going to get swept under the rug. I have a feeling maybe he pleads guilty. Maybe his brother drops the charges. Maybe we never hear the rest of the information. And if he's innocent, he's innocent. Like, I want to see the justice system play out. So I don't want to sit here and have a victory lap, even though I do know this is abhorrent behavior that I'm not surprised at with Jamal Hill. And if he is convicted, the first thing I want to see is Ian Gary's wife make a shirt. You're only safe because I allow you to be safe, or that constitutes an ass whooping. That's what I want to see with Jamal Hill's mugshot on it. If he is convicted, because that's what he deserves. People who commit nasty crimes, whether it be assault, whether it be drinking and driving, or any other, crime that you can list, they deserve to be shamed for it, in my opinion. So I have no problem with someone throwing that on a t-shirt with the quote, "The only reason you're allowed to be safe is because I allow you to be safe." So we'll see what happens. I'll continue to cover this story as more information comes out. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments. Do you think Jamal Hill walks back into a title shot, or you think this is going to delay his plans? Does this mean Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev? I am very, very curious. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.